everybody, it's Janet. On this week's episode, I am interviewing Michael Whitehouse, the guy that knows a guy. You are going to learn so much. He's going to tell you how he became a master networker and the do's of networking, and more importantly, the don'ts of networking, and how important it is to follow up and how you can follow up. And this is the one that really got me. He shares how you can come across, set up those meetings without being salesy and pushy, because nobody likes to be pushy and nobody likes to be pushed. So take a listen and learn how you can be the solution to any problem for your potential clients. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the podcast. Hey everybody, it is Janet, and I want to welcome you to the Network Marketers Den. I am really excited for you all to meet this guy, Michael Whitehouse. He is a guy who knows a guy, and I just love that. And I actually met him through the power of networking. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but to tell you a little bit about Michael, he's an interesting guy that does so many different things. He's a coach. He's an author, he's a motivational speaker, and most importantly, he is a master networker. He's got over 18 years of experience running businesses and working with a diverse range of people, including you, the network marketer and the direct seller. He helps you to gain a clear vision of your future. What does it look like? What does success look like? To develop the gratitude. Oh, I love gratitude. It's all about gratitude. Be thankful. And build your toolbox. I love that. Toolbox of connections and skills. You got to develop the skills to drive towards their vision. He has a motivational message, a morning motivation podcast, and he is the founder and chairman of Conference 21, a unique virtual conference focusing on authentic connections and powerful learning. The author of The Guy Who Knows a Guy. And it's a book where he shares his story of going from stranger to connector in less than 2 years. So, Michael, excited to be here with you. And you've got so much to share. And, you know, our audience is network marketers. And you teach people how to put the network back into network marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do definitely agree. Network marketing is a great opportunity when done right.
When done
well. And I think, unfortunately, so many people... And sometimes it's luck of the draw. If you're recruited by the wrong person who doesn't quite get it, or in some of my experience, if you're recruited by someone who's a natural salesperson, the problem with the naturals, they can't teach it. They're naturally like that. I'm naturally outgoing. So when someone says, "Hey, Michael, teach me how to speak like you," they're like, "Well, step one, don't be afraid to get on stage. And step two, doesn't matter because you don't have my lack of fear of public speaking." So it's important to work with someone who can deconstruct what it takes, which of course, Jan, is what you do, but to have someone who can deconstruct and not just like, I'm naturally outgoing. Well, I'm not naturally outgoing. So what do I do? How do I do this? But the great thing about it is that it is a pre-built business, pre-built product. One of the challenges in my business is I'm doing my own thing. So I'm like, okay, I know what I have. I know what, we talk about the toolbox. I have this huge toolbox, but nobody wants to buy a toolbox. They want to buy a solution, a product. And it's taken me some time to figure out like how do I package it? How do I put it together? How do I make it something someone can actually buy and participate in, as opposed to just like, I got stuff, who wants stuff? And with network marketing, they've got something, whatever it is, whether it's a nutritional supplement or candles or knives or whatever, they've got a thing. And then you have to find the need and sell that thing. Right.
And as you said, that's the great thing about network marketing is that the structure is already there. And we always talk about duplication, but it's hard to duplicate a guy like you with all of the enthusiasm, because most people, I hear this all the time. I'm sure you hear it too. Well, I'm really shy. I don't want to talk to people. And what we do is we help people to get over that shyness. And I think once you know what it is. So tell me, I'm just curious, where did you come up with this, a guy who knows a guy concept? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it all started back in 2014 is when it really came to fruition. I'd been networking for a while, but in 2014, due to some job changes. We ended up moving to where I live now in Groton, Connecticut. And we had to move quickly because we were losing the apartment we were going to be in. And I had this idea of starting some kind of consulting business. Didn't really have a plan per se, but sort of had a concept. And I knew that I would need to have a network and connections to do it, whatever it was I was doing. And so I jumped in with both feet. Actually, the night before we moved, I attended a Chamber of Commerce event, started meeting people, and just went to every chamber event I could find. I didn't really know how to network in any sort of technical way, but I knew I needed to do it. So I did a lot of it, as much as I could. And wherever I could, if there's a ribbon cutting, just started going, meeting people. And what I discovered was, because we're up here in New England, and in New England, I like to joke we're like vampires. We can't cross running water. If there's someone in the town of Groton and there's a river, and then New London's on the other side, the person everyone knows in New London may not know the person everyone knows in Groton because there's a river between them. So
I was like, cross the river.
Yeah, can't cross the river. No. So I was like the medieval, the medieval trader bringing news from the other kingdom. And I would go from New London to Groton to Westerly to East Lyme. And I would bring ideas and introductions. And suddenly I became this connector because I crossed rivers. I crossed town boundaries. And before I knew it, 2 years in, I knew absolutely no one when I moved here. 2 years in, I got a call from the head of one of our local political parties saying, we have a vacancy on this elected body, and we'd love you to fill it. In fact, we're not going to, I'm waiting for a yes or no from you before I do anything else. So if you want it, it's yours. If you don't want to, let me know. That was 2 years after moving to the area, not knowing anyone. I got recruited into the Rotary Club. I was making connections to people who were, pretty big wheels, and I realized I've done something. I've done something that other people haven't done and probably don't know how to do. And I know what I did. I wasn't a natural at it. I just kind of figured it out. And I said, since I know what I do, why don't I write it down and publish a book? Because at the time I was working for a printing company. I was selling printing, but I had 15 years of experience with marketing and with other kinds of things.
Right.
But since I was selling printing, I was a print salesman. So when I talk to business, I would say, hey, I've got this experience. I can help you here. I can help you there. They're like, yeah, whatever. Take my business card order and get out of here. So once I published a book, I then became an author. I was no longer just a salesman. I was an author. So then I could leverage that to be like, oh, would you like a copy of my book? And then let me talk to you about this. And so that's, I put out the book for the most mercenary purposes, which was to get author into my bio.
Absolutely. Yep. And full disclosure, I did the same thing. And just like you, here's my book. Okay. But it is a credibility thing. It is absolutely is a credibility thing. So when you did your networking, you really went grassroots. That's what you did. Right. Okay. And of course, in today's day and age, there's a lot less face-to-face. How have you adapted with less face-to-face and the Zoom, and how is that working because you continue to network every day, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually COVID was the best thing that could have happened to my network.
Okay.
So I will say that right now, all the chambers in the area are pretty much back up to speed. They're still running in-person events. I'm not going to them as much, partly because they don't provide as much value anymore for the reason I'm about to share, which things went online. First off, that profoundly disrupted the business I was doing and ultimately pushed me into launching my own business, doing my own thing for real, which I should have done years ago. Well, obviously I tried to in 2014, but I didn't have a plan. When I did it in 2020, I had more of a plan of what I could offer. But the biggest thing that happened was I'm in BNI among other groups, and all the BNI groups went online. And I said, wait a minute. If they're on Zoom, you can reach a Zoom call from anywhere. I can visit a chapter anywhere. So I went into there's a Facebook group for BNI members. And I went in there and I said, hey, I want to take advantage of this new, global, this new virtual thing. Who has a chapter I could visit? And so I visited a chapter in Malaysia, and I visited a chapter in Melbourne, Australia, and I visited one in Washington State, and I visited one in England. That was tough with the time zones. I had to get up at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that is tough. That is.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
lucky
easier to go
know
west.
That you're East Coast and I'm Midwest. So
for morning meetings, it's much easier to go west than east. But so I started doing that, and then that made connections to other virtual events, to Gabe O'Neill's event, to Frank Agan's event, to Am Spirit, to Success Champions Networking, to all these different groups. And I went from just being well connected here in Southeast Connecticut, in New London County, population 250,000, so a pretty small area, to now, after a year and a half, I went to an event called Strategic Alliance Live, which was an amazing event to meet, kind of really up-level my connections and meet a number of 7-8-figure business owners. And so now I know people all over the world. I'm working on a summit called Global Networking Summit that's going to be in February. And for that, we needed speakers who were really authorities, had large audiences, and I needed to find 30 of them. And I had a network. I'm like, oh, let me just work my network. I realized when I was talking to some other people, hey, you should team up with these guys to build a summit as well. And the process of finding 30 qualified speakers for them would have been, for most people, monumental. And for me, it was just, let me just go knock on the doors in my network and see who I can find. And they're there because I've been going out and just visiting all these things and working this connection. And the key thing that's been most important is I'm not just going out being like, hey, Janet, what can you do for me?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's what most people do is they go out and I'm going to connect with this person because I think they could be a client or I think they could join my team. How do you get how do you get over that? What's the key? Because that's where I was thinking, because to have that many people in your network.
The key is to flip your mindset, to change what the game is. So for me, the game is not how can I make money in this, and possibly to a fault, because I will admit that monetization of my network is not one of my strongest suits. But my focus is how can I serve this person? What I love more than anything is when someone comes to me and says, I have a problem, and I can say, let me deploy my network and solve the problem. I got a guy, I've got a solution, I've got an answer. And to make an introduction. And sometimes people don't realize this. If you're, maybe just getting started network marketing, you're not well connected, and you go out to network and meet with people, you're like, what do I have to offer? Who do I know? What connections can I make? And you would be amazed at what connections somebody might need, because you might be meeting with, a zillionaire somewhere, but they still might have a leaky roof. And zillionaires don't go to zillionaire roofers, they go to roofers. So if you have a friend who's a roofer who's really busy, but they'll return the calls of people you refer to them because it's your golfing buddy, well, you now have a valuable thing that the zillionaire needs, which is a roofer who will answer the frickin' phone. And we always have something of value. And it's easy to think in this, strata of like, well, that person's higher up than me and I don't live in their world. But people are people, even those powerful, influential people you have, they might have kids, might have back pain, headaches, digestion issues. They need to find places to exercise. They want things to do for fun. They want to find intellectual stimulation. They're still human. Humans need human things. And if you find ways to provide that. So I always go when I get on a networking call, it's always the game is, who can I help this person by connecting them to? And when I was less established, I would more often say, let me find that person for you. Now, as a coach and more established, if I'm going to be going on a search, then I do that for clients. That's a paid service.
Sure.
But before, just kind of to test myself and to build my skills in my network, if somebody said, I need to find a such and such. For example, I was talking to someone a few months ago out in, I believe, the Milwaukee area.
Okay.
And she said, I wish you were out here. And I'm like, well, besides the obvious reason, everyone wants me near them. Why do you wish I was out there? So, because I need a roofer. I've got this roof issue. Everyone I call won't call me back. And I just need someone who will help me. And I said, oh, well, why didn't you say so? Let me go find someone for you. And she said, well, you're in Connecticut and I'm in Milwaukee. I was like, yeah, there's the internet. Let me go find someone for you. And so I reached out to someone I knew from the magazine company I used to work for, who connected me to somebody else, who connected me to one of their clients who was a roofer in their city. And within 24 hours, I said, here's the phone number for this person. Give them a call, drop this name. And now, interestingly, I never got follow up on how that turned out, because I do a lot of fire and forget introductions.
Sure.
The result of which is people will come back to me sometimes and say, a year later, I'll meet someone at an event or online or whatever. And they're like, oh, Michael, thank you so much for doing that. I ended up getting a job from them and it's been great. And I'm like, what was your name again?
Yeah. Yeah.
I help them.
That's such a great story because you're there to help them. So I know this might seem like a silly question, but I know when I first started many years ago in networking, this was always, I know I want to help people, and I can help people with other things. Like you said, everybody, if you have a roof, if you have a leaky toilet or whatever, but how do you find out what they need? I mean, I know it sounds really simple, but what do you say to somebody? Hey, let's play it out that this is the first time you and I met. Let's do that. What would you say? What would you say to me?
So it's often the question is simple as, how can I help you? As you may know, I have a network. Who would you like to meet? Who would it value you to meet? And the interesting thing is, a lot of people aren't ready for that question. I post that on social media sometimes, and I say, who would be your ideal introduction? Who would change your business to meet? And the answers that I posted this recently, and people were like, I want to meet Elon Musk. I want to meet Donald Trump. I want to meet, whatever big names. And meeting Donald Trump isn't going to do anything for most people. Meeting Elon Musk can do anything. He's not going to change your life. You're not going to get business with him. And so people don't think about it as possible. It's like if you could meet with any celebrity, who would it be? Instead, think about, if you could meet any business owner that would actually change your business, who would it be and why? And then when you meet someone like me or like you could then say, hey, I'd really love to sit down with Bob Berg. I'd really love to sit down with, with whoever it is, because I think knowing them, I think we could collaborate. And I think there's some opportunities there, but I'd need to meet with them to do that. Do you know them? Do you know someone who knows them? Because, that whole 6 degrees of separation thing is totally true.
Right. Absolutely.
And often less. And, if you're on LinkedIn only shows you first, second, and third degree connections. They don't, It's first, second, third plus, because almost everyone is 3 degrees on LinkedIn. So, they're connected to somebody, but you need a reason to meet them other than like, oh my, you're so cool. Yeah. Nobody wants to have that conversation.
Right.
But
so how can I help you? How can I help you? What do you need help with? Do you need help with, I mean, maybe they don't even realize, maybe you just, does it make sense? Hey, do you need any help with a plumber or whatever, or anything like that I can help you with? It doesn't have to be about your business. What do you need help with?
Yep. Yeah. And so the other thing that I do want to share before I run out of time is the friendly follow-up concept.
Okay. Let's hear that.
One of the challenges is, so I go out and I'm aggressively networking, and I go out and I meet 20 people a week, and maybe I have a 1-to-1 20 people a week. Well, that's going to be most of your week, because that's going to be 10 to 20 hours.
Right.
It's going to be 1,000 people. Well, you certainly can't follow up with them because it takes so long to meet them. How are you going to follow up with them? And that's where automation can be powerful if done correctly.
Okay.
It's very important to do it right. If you do it wrong, you're annoying. But you do it right, you're building a community. And what I've actually had great effect with is using email to follow up, automated email. So, email lists, it could be MailChimp, it could be Kartra, it could be Influencersoft, whatever. You put them in an email list, but the very important thing is this email list does not sell them. So this is not a check out my new products. Nobody wants that. Maybe somebody wants that, but probably after they bought something. Nobody who met you at a networking event wants to get your emails about your products, unless they ask for that specifically.
Right.
So you come up with something of value you can share. So for me, for example, it was a list of all the networking events in Southeast Connecticut that I was sharing every week. I'm not as active with that anymore because I'm not going out to the events as much. Right. But when I was meeting people face to face at live events in Southeast Connecticut, I could be pretty sure they probably wanted to hear about other events in Southeast Connecticut. They were pretty clearly defined there. I suggested to a friend of mine who does LinkedIn consulting, teaches people how to be effective on LinkedIn. She gets all kinds of bad approaches, people cold messages. Hey, let me sell you my stuff. Do you do this and the thing, and I can do your website? And when you're in the business, they're hilariously bad. And I said, well, it'd be a great email that I would be amused to, I'd sign up for this list. The worst approach of the week. So every time someone sends you a bad cold approach, take a screenshot of it, and next week send it out to your list. Be like, check this guy out, and here's what he did wrong. Here's what he could have done. Teach a little bit too, but people love laughing at
Oh yeah, people love to know what
messes.
people did wrong. They love those.
They love those worst approach of the week, or if you're a home inspector, it could be house fails, things that are falling apart and collapsing,
right,
and whatever.
But I love that idea, doing the follow-up, because I have a saying, and most network marketers do: fortune's in the follow-up, FITFU. But you have to find a way to do it, and doing the email list, but providing value. I think that's really, really key. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
And what'll happen is you'll send out an unrelated email. So if you're being pushy, if you're like, buy my stuff, unsubscribe, spam, get out of here. But if you're giving them some value and you're sharing, and maybe, in the PS, don't forget that I still offer, if you're interested in talking about your weight loss journey, I'm available. Just very gently, because they might forget who you are and why you're doing it.
Right.
But I send out emails all the time about something, and somebody replies about something completely different. And they might say to a totally non-sales email, like, hey, I know we talked last week about, me maybe joining your inner circle, or last month. I want to talk about that again, because just seeing my name reminded them, right, I meant to get back to him about that. And it sort of slips their mind. And this is just one more way to be like, don't forget about me. I'm a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. So, I'm heard about your journey, in that first 2 years. So for the average Joe, average Jane, during the course of a month, how many, and people have limited time, how many networking events would you suggest, if they're truly serious about growing their business and meeting people? How many times a month, a week, should somebody have attended a networking event? Or is it just here and there?
It depends on what their strategy is.
Okay.
So, and what they need to do, and how they're meeting people, and what's effective. When I was publishing a magazine, the most effective, far and away, way for me to get clients was to meet them in person at a networking event, and then leverage that into a call. Because when I cold called them, my people didn't want to hear about it. They're like, print, whatever, print is dead, don't talk to me. If I could talk to them for 3 minutes over a glass of wine at a networking event, they were open to a 30-minute meeting to then go to the next step. So for me in that business, every event I could find. If I could go to 6 a week, it would be 6. If there was 7, I'd go to 7. If there's 12, I'd go to 12, because that was primary. But it depends on what your strategy is and how you're employing it. If you're just going for the wine and the cheese and hanging out, and you're not actually turning these into anything, then it's recreation time, and it's not even business. If you can trace a line from it to business and to leads, then that's a whole different thing. But the important thing is, when you're there, you don't want to just be sell. Your job in a conversation is to find ways you can help. What are your problems? How can I help you? And you give someone space to talk about their problems, they're going to do it. People love talking about their problems.
They love to talk about themselves and their problems. So you're saying there is an art there that you teach about the bridging from I meet you either face to face or on Zoom, to go from there to the bridge to actually having a conversation about business. Right. Okay.
So for example,
what do you do? What would you do? Because what I see too often is I've gone to networking events and they pounce on you and they want to sell right away. And I want to meet Michael, because Michael could be the person that would buy my product or would join my team. And I know you're spot on with the mindset, but what would be the process? You and I meet, we have a glass of wine, we're at this networking event, then what?
Well, so some of it depends on, whatever the product is, your product solves a problem. So first off, know what problem your product solves. If you don't know that, then that's a challenge. And a lot of, if you're just doing, off the shelf network marketing, often the program that you're taught to sell with doesn't actually address the problem. It talks about the benefits. Look how great we are. Well, that's great. But, it could be the greatest screwdriver in the world. If I just have nails, it doesn't matter. I don't have that problem.
Right.
So figure out what problem you solve. So for example, if it's a weight loss thing, a health thing, then you're looking at people the problem of maintaining their weight, and maybe, weight, energy, longevity, things like that. Well, you want to get the conversation to a place where someone will reveal they have a problem with either not enough energy or trouble managing their weight. Well, if you're at a networking event and there's lots of hors d'oeuvres, that's a nice segue. You can talk about the hors d'oeuvres and get them talking, and maybe, I know some of the products are structured so that they're metabolism boosters. So you can eat more of the really unhealthy hors d'oeuvre food at these events.
Right.
And so you might drop into the conversation, be like, oh, buffalo wings, I love these. I couldn't eat these before. And, now I'm really excited I can. Oh, really? Why can you now? Oh, because I started this, using this product, and it boosts my metabolism so I can actually eat another 500 calories and not blow up like a balloon. They'd be like, really? Because I'd like to eat more of these buffalo wings, but I can't because I'll blow up like a balloon. Oh, well, yeah, I got if you're interested, I'd love to set up a time to talk, not here, and share with you what it is. Only if you want to, and kind of almost take it away from the back. I have it. You're probably not interested. You don't even want it. But if you did, I'm sure you're busy.
That's why I always say buy it back. But your idea of dropping some hints, and the thing that I think our listeners need to hear is that you take it offline. You don't try to sell there.
Yep.
You meet an interesting person at a networking event, whether it's face to face or it's Zoom, and and you just want to get to know them. That's what you do. Then you schedule the call.
Yes.
And just say, how can I help you?
And there's a very important tactical reason for this, besides the fact that you don't want to monopolize their time. You don't want to be a salesy jerk. So you're at a networking event and you see the opportunity. They're interested. So in the sales process, there'll only be one time when they're at maximum interest, when they're first learning about it. This is why spoilers for movies are so bad. Once you know what's coming, movie's not as good anymore. So now they're like, tell me more. And the way the sales process works, you tell them more, you get them excited, they're fired up, you got the selling energy, and that's when you say, and if you want it now, here's how you sign up. Boom. So you're building them through this process. They're getting excited. You're building up that energy. They want this thing you have because they're just learning about it right now. And the next step to the close might be, okay, great. So let's meet tomorrow because I can show you the rest of it and get you signed up. All right. But you're building up, you're getting that energy going. And then their friend that they haven't seen in 3 weeks comes over. Hey, John, how you doing? Oh, great. How was that baseball game? Oh, the baseball game was great. Yeah. And you're like, I don't care about the freaking baseball game. I was working on something here. The chance of being interrupted at the pivotal moment that you can never get back again, you've eliminated their curiosity because you told them everything, is very high. It's a networking event. People are supposed to talk and meet people. And so it's very high that you will lose the opportunity because you'll then say, okay, great, let's set up a call. And they're thinking, no, I already had all my questions answered. What do we need to meet for?
Right. So you got to leave them hungry,
I'll call
don't
you
you?
if I want to buy it.
Yeah. You got to leave them hungry.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people, if you can help them, if you can help solve a problem, even if it's not your product, when they know of somebody that has your problem, they're going to refer them to you, right? Because you helped them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about that. Definitely.
No, makes complete and total sense. But, with what you can help really cut that learning curve for anybody in any sort of business about how to network. It's not going to take them the 2 years. So I'm just curious, just a couple of kind of off the cuff questions for you. What do you like to do when you're not working? I feel like you're working a lot because
I am working a lot. Yeah. And so I'm glad you warned me about this question before we got on the air, because my answer would have been, I don't know. But one thing I want to mention about that is with being as busy as I am, there's a danger of turning into Homo negotium, the next evolution of humans where we're just business people all the time. And I was thinking about the fact that I used to own a game store. I used to be into board games a lot and D&D and Magic and whatnot. I actually was a director of Rocky Horror Picture Show cast way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So I did all this stuff. And now I'm businessman. Like, what are you excited about? What do I watch on YouTube? I watch business videos. What do I read? Business books. Who do I talk to? Business people. business, business, business. And while I'm excited about it, I realize I need to intentionally make sure that I'm doing other things. So one thing that I do for fun is my desk is set up in my office in this big U shape, and I have a laptop I got before I got my desktop here. And now my daughter's old enough to start playing some games like Planet Zoo and Spore. She'll play games on her computer. I'll play games on my computer. The games I play are older because I kind of imprinted in my teens in the 90s. So I play a lot of like video games out of the 90s.
Sure.
I don't want to flirt new video games. It's hard. I just play the old ones again. But so, things like that. I do often try to find movies and TV shows that are really engaging, because when you work a lot, your brain gets kind of stuck in that mode. So something light and fluffy, I'll just start thinking about business again. But something like I started watching Squid Game on Netflix, which is like super intense. And so those things that really kind of grab me and pull me in.
Right.
That's the kind of movies and shows I try to find. And I do try to get out, because I got in the habit of not leaving the house.
Right.
I'm like, I have everything I need here, but as humans, our human monkey brains like need to be with trees, need to be with live humans, need to physically move our legs and do things, which is part of why I take karate also, because that gets me out. And
there's a good thing.
I will not exercise if someone's not telling me to do so. I try to join gyms. I don't go. But when you join a karate studio, you don't just go to karate class. You become a karate student. It's an identity. If I'm not there, they say, "Hey, Michael, where have you been?" And so I found that's what really pulls me in. And because of someone there saying, "Do this thing," it can actually get me out of my head and into the dojo, which is crucial for really anyone working at that level.
Accountability. I think that's the beauty of the coach, is that we hold people accountable. I mean, that's what you have to do. So, okay, your guilty pleasure. What do you like? Your favorite food that's good for you, bad for you? What do you really love? What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to food?
Food would be, and actually, it's not that bad for me, sushi. It's expensive, which is why it's bad for me. But yeah, I love sushi.
Okay. Well, that's actually pretty good for you. And, you talked about movies. I'm curious, what is your favorite movie? I know this is hard because people want to say, well, I got so many. No, you only get one favorite movie.
One favorite movie. I probably should look at this question really prepared ahead of time, because I only got so far in. There's not really a lot of movies like I watch over and over again or anything like that. So I used to really like the sales movies, Boiler Room and Glengarry Glen Ross and those kind of things, until I watched them a couple of times and realized they're all really anti-business. Like,
they are. Yeah, salespeople are bad.
Evil in those movies.
Salespeople solve problems. Salespeople are good.
Yeah. Whereas in the movies, like, salespeople are the bad guys trying to sell people things they don't want and rip them off and just make money and snort coke and they're just and
that's
people.
Part of the paradigm that so many people do have, is that they don't want to come across as salesy, and you help them to not be salesy because you're offering to help people. So that's awesome.
One of the most inspiring movies I've seen is Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, that is with Will Smith. That is a great movie. I will.
Really, any Will Smith movie is good. But
I like Will Smith. He's great. There's certain actors that we all want to. Well, Michael, this has been really enlightening, and I think as I think about it, the things that you're talking about, it's so basic. If we all just approach, but how can I help you? Mm-hmm. So you've got a couple of things that are going on. Do you want to just share with our audience what you've got on? You told me about you've got a new podcast coming out, an Inner Circle program. Tell us a little bit about that.
I got a few things. So first off, you go to guywhoknowsaguy.com up here. You can find all those things there. So instead of sharing here's 16 different links. So I have the Morning Motivation Podcast, which is a daily motivational, kind of like an upbeat, rah-rah sort of message. And I'm creating the Power 5 podcast, which should be launching right about the time when this is airing. And what I do is I take one business question, either from the audience or from the big list of questions that I had before I started, and I answer it in 5 minutes or less. So it's just a quick burst of knowledge, quick something to get you thinking, move you forward a little bit. And that's the Power 5 podcast, and it's spelled POWER 5, which I think makes it searchable if you search for Power 5, because morning motivation, I discovered, you type in morning motivation, you get a whole bunch of podcasts.
Right.
So there's that. And I also have the Inner Circle, which is designed to be an accessible program. Because I realized with my networking, originally I was teaching people to network. And it takes a couple of years to build a network. It takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of energy, and people didn't want to learn how to fish. They just wanted me to give them a fish. So the Inner Circle is, I take everything I've learned from years and years of networking, years and years of doing all kinds of different jobs and businesses and all these different things, and I share it in the Inner Circle. It's a weekly Zoom call that members can get on and share their knowledge or ask their questions and bring whatever random challenge. The business is always the next random challenge that you can't anticipate last week. And so they can bring those in and get some feedback and some pointers and directions.
Great.
And I'm keeping that low cost. It's the price will be going, it'll still be affordable, but right now, as we record, this price is ridiculously affordable. As we're launching it and putting it together, it'll become merely regular affordable over time. So the sooner you get into it, the less it's going to cost. And you can find that at guywhoknowsaguy.com/inner circle.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Michael, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. And, for our listeners, this is how Michael and I got to know each other. Mm-hmm. I know somebody who knew Michael, and Michael was looking for speakers. So she connected us. We talked. Michael has referred somebody else to me. So that's how it works. It's constant like that. And it's so important, and never felt sold to, because Michael was there to help me and to answer my question. And if you all take that approach with any business, but especially in network marketing, it's not necessarily just your product. You're always going to win. You're always going to win. So, well, Michael, it was my absolute pleasure to get to know you, and I love being a part of your Inner Circle. And I am one of your clients. Because I have learned a ton. And right off the bat, I think people have to realize that if you grab a nugget here and there, you're always going to win. And for me, it is about the email list. I agree 100%. But I hadn't connected those dots about networking and getting them onto your email list, but providing value. It's all about value. So Michael, thank you again. And I want to thank our listeners at the Network Marketers Den. Check out Michael at aguyWhoKnowsAguy.com, because you will learn a lot. And even if you're in Milwaukee, I'm in Madison, so I'm not that far. If we would have known each other back then, I could have found her somebody, but get us connected. We'll help each other out. So everybody have a great one. And here's to your continued success, and check out A Guy Who Knows a Guy. Thanks a lot, Michael. You take care.
Thank you.